Gavin Newsom is now the clear frontrunner to win the 2028 Democratic nomination, holding better than a 1 in 4 chance, according to Kalshi's latest prediction market odds. No other potential candidate has managed to stay in the spotlight as long or as brightly as Newsom has over the past month. He's been rallying his base with jabs at Trump on X, while also making national headlines in the high-stakes redistricting battles playing out across the country. This is Newsom's moment, and he's leaning into it. Early primary polls show him climbing fast. He's now leading in the two most recent California surveys at around 25% each, and even pulled ahead in the latest Ohio poll. That suggests his surge is spreading well beyond his home state and into the critical Midwest, and bettors are taking notice too, with traders steadily putting more weight behind his chances of clinching the nomination 3 years from now. That said, it's still very early. For all the momentum he's built, Newsom isn't the undisputed favorite. Progressive NYC Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, former Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg, 2024 nominee Kamala Harris, and governors Gretchen Whitmer, Josh Shapiro, Wes Moore, and Andy Beshear are all firmly in the mix as well. And according to the latest polling average compiled by Race to the White House, Harris still leads nationally at about 23%. She's followed by Buttigieg, then Newsom, then AOC, Tim Walz, Cory Booker, and Shapiro. Looking at just the newest national survey from Echelon Insights, conducted between August 14th and 18th, Harris doubles the support of any other candidate, coming in at 26%. Newsom sits at 13%, up 3 points from the previous survey, and a big leap from just 4% back in April. Buttigieg comes in at 11%, AOC at 6%, Cory Booker at 5%, and several others at only a couple points each. Now, if you watch my channel regularly, you know I've said this before. Harris's phantom lead in these polls shouldn't be taken too seriously. The trendline polling average already shows she shed a lot of the support she held earlier this year. And while she still technically leads, that's almost entirely because she was literally just the party's presidential nominee less than a year ago. She's a household name with decent favorability inside the party. But let's be real, any candidate in her position would likely be leading right now, too. There's also a growing sense that Harris may not be the strongest contender in what's shaping up to be a crowded, competitive primary. She'll need to convince Democrats she still represents the future of the party despite her 2024 loss to Donald Trump. And complicating that is her close association with President Biden, whose final years in office were increasingly dominated by questions about age and mental fitness. That connection could turn into more of a liability than an asset. And then there's the simple fact that Harris hasn't yet proven herself as a strong primary candidate. Remember, there wasn't a real primary in 2024. She effectively inherited the nomination once Biden stepped aside. And we can't forget her 2020 run either. It started with huge buzz and sky-high expectations, but collapsed months before the Iowa caucuses. Right behind Harris in most early polls is Pete Buttigieg, better known back in 2020 as Mayor Pete. He first rose to national prominence after an unexpected win in Iowa, eventually finishing 5th in the delegate race. And alongside Newsom and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, these three clearly outpace the rest of the Democratic field when it comes to online presence. We've already touched on Newsom, but Ocasio-Cortez has commanded a massive following on Twitter ever since entering politics, while clips of Buttigieg speaking routinely rack up millions of views across social platforms. It's no surprise then that AOC and Buttigieg, along with Harris, are currently the most popular Democrats in terms of net favorability. According to a Yale Youth poll from April, which surveyed 2,000 Democratic primary voters, AOC topped the list with 75% viewing her favorably and just 13% unfavorably. Harris came in second with a net favorability of 59%, and Buttigieg placed third at 49%. Given those numbers, it makes sense that all three are hovering near the top of early polling. But here's the thing, there's no guarantee any of the names dominating headlines right now will still be at the top when the first debate stage rolls around. Remember, 3 years before the 2008 election, Barack Obama was still just a little-known first-term senator from Illinois. And in 2016, the idea of Donald Trump becoming a serious contender was literally laughed off, even after he started polling well in early states. At the end of the day, forecasting a presidential nomination this far out is more art than science. Your guess is as good as mine, and that's exactly what makes this so interesting. Looking ahead, Democratic Party officials are quietly battling over which state will vote first in the 2028 primary, a fight with huge implications that's about to break into the open next week when party leaders meet in Minneapolis. Right now, it looks like the decision is down to 3 states: Nevada, New Hampshire, and Michigan. If Nevada goes first, a candidate with strong union backing and Hispanic voter support would have the edge. In New Hampshire, which is far wider than the Democratic Party as a whole, candidates who resonate with college-educated Democrats would benefit most. And Michigan, it's a true mix: urban, suburban, rural, and very racially diverse. The catch is, it's such a large state that the candidate with the most money and biggest media footprint would likely dominate. So that's something to watch closely in the coming weeks, especially as new national surveys roll in, all against the backdrop of this post-Newsom surge moment. Now shifting gears to the Republican field, things look a lot less crowded for now. The prevailing assumption is that Vice President J.D. Vance will carry the torch and lead Trump's agenda into a younger, post-Trump future. If he runs, and especially if he gets Trump's endorsements, he's the overwhelming favorite to win the GOP nomination. But if Trump surprises everyone by withholding that endorsement, or by backing someone else, the entire dynamic could shift overnight. According to the markets, the next most likely nominee after Vance is Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Trump himself has even floated Rubio's name as a possible successor or perhaps a rival against Vance. After Rubio comes Trump himself, with investors hedging on the slim but very real chance that he attempts a third-term run despite constitutional limits. Rounding out the list are Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin, Trump's son Don Jr., National Intelligence Director Tulsi Gabbard, and 2 familiar names from 2024, Ron DeSantis and Nikki Haley. On the polling side, Vance dominates most surveys, averaging around 47% in fields without Trump. He's followed by Don Jr. at 11%, DeSantis at 10%, and both RFK Jr. and Rubio at around 8%. And if we zoom in on the most recent survey from Echelon Insights in mid-August, Vance holds a massive 34-point lead over second place. Still, it all really comes down to one question: who does Trump endorse? Right now, the public seems to believe Vance is the heir apparent. That's why he's commanding the prediction markets. But at just 55%, his odds are really only a little better than a coin flip, and that's not quite as strong as you'd expect for a sitting vice president who essentially controls the party machinery. As always, feel free to share your thoughts in the comments and let me know what other videos or topics you'd like to see me cover next. Shout out to my channel members listed in the description below. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a like if you enjoyed the content. Check out more of my videos right here, and as always, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. EP out.